You may be wondering why people aren't panicking when they see Munro walking around with a drawn phaser. The answer is simple. They all know that we're out here looking for rogue Neelix cheese. The situation has gotten even more dire since we were scanning at the bridge. Now we have to zap it as soon as we see it. I've told the crew to let me know if they see any. That said, if they see the Neelix cheese, it may already be too late. I'm gonna have to step up these plans even more. Hey folks, it's Kikoskia here, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. And when last we left off, we've checked out a few more quarters, including the quarters of Juliet Gerard. Now it's time to check the quarters of Austin Chang.
The quarters of crewman Austin Chang.
These are pretty neat. And I see here Chang's log. Let's go check that out. We have quite a few entries here, understandable considering the fact that this character is a new one for this game. I believe they're also in Elite Force 2. Either way, let's get to reading. Stardate 53840.12. My good friend Ensign Munro has encouraged me to try out for the hazard team that Lieutenant Commander Tuvok is creating. Munro seems to think my knowledge of demolition would make me a valuable member of the team. It sounds interesting, so I think I'll try. Then we have Stardate 53841.5. The hazard team tryout was very exciting. They had me fight Romulans, Hirogen, and even several of Species 8472. It was very difficult, but thanks to my explosives, I was able to win the scenarios. Lieutenant Foster seemed impressed with my abilities. He asked me to join the hazard team right after I finished the tryout. I wonder how that went. He just threw explosives everywhere, or maybe he strategically placed them. It's probably the latter, but I like to think it was actually the former. Then we have Stardate 53847.2. Munro managed to get killed 3 times during holodeck missions today. The hapless ensign may be a little shaky as a leader, but at least Alex is entertaining. That's something, I guess. Stardate 53849.55. We had quite a busy day today on the holodeck. Beastman and Telsia were shot by Chell, Munro ran off a Borg catwalk, and I blew myself up. We may not be much of a security force, but we're one heck of a comedy team. Unfortunately, the Vorsoth are not weak to clown troops, so it's a good thing we got a lot better really quickly. Stardate 53850.33. Lieutenant Commander Tuvok and Lieutenant Foster are losing their patience with us. I think they've turned up the pain settings on my holodeck because after I died today, the whole left side of my body went numb. It's been a couple of hours and I still have tingling in my fingers and toes. I have to admit, pain makes you want to die less. Obvious statements are also obvious. Then 53853.2. Lieutenant Foster about flipped out when he saw the hazard team posters that Neelix had put all over the ship. As a joke, I've taken the liberty of creating action figures of different members of the team. I can't wait to see the look on the Lieutenant's face when he hears about this. I just hope no one tells him who did it. I definitely won't. I'm the one collecting them. Stardate 53854.0. I about had a heart attack today. Lieutenant Foster walked in on me when I was showing off the hazard team action figures to Munro. Foster walked over and picked up the Beastman character and inspected it closely. Then he set it down and said, "How'd you manage to get a picture of Beastman with his mouth closed?" Oh, Foster. Stardate 53854.74. A quick recap of what's happened. Voyager was sent to some type of graveyard by an alien probe. A motley crew of scavengers attacked Voyager. We shot at them and they left. A group of the hazard team went to an alien vessel to find out more info on this place. I wasn't asked to go. I guess they don't need anything blown up. To be fair, blowing stuff up is a pretty niche skill set. Stardate 53854.78. The group just got back from a data gathering mission. Sounds like I missed out on a lot of action. Maybe I'll get chosen for the next mission. I'm pretty good with a phaser rifle, but I've really got to learn to do things other than blow stuff up. Yeah, it's kind of hampering your ability to go on missions here. There are quite a few more entries. Stardate 53855.13. The hazard team is being sent to a scavenger base to get some isodesium, and guess who doesn't get to go? Me. So it's a stealth mission. They still might need something blown up in a very small explosion. I'm gonna start hitting the target range and get my phaser ratings up. Good idea! Stardate 53855.2. Sounds like the team had a bad time over on the scavenger base. The Borg took both the isodesium and Lieutenant Foster. I hope we mount a rescue mission to save Foster. Being turned into a Borg would be a fate worse than death. Luckily, we did. Stardate 53856.72. In the absence of Lieutenant Foster, Ensign Munro has been given command of the hazard team. There was some grumbling about the decision, but I think it's a great idea. Munro has a cool head and will make a great leader. We're going to need one, because we're being sent over to the Borg cube in an attempt to reclaim the isodesium Voyager needs. We're also going to try and save Lieutenant Foster, but Tuvok has made it clear the isodesium takes priority. I know Munro will find a way to save Foster. And we did! Stardate 53857.1. There we were, trapped by the Borg after they double-crossed us. They had told us they would give us the isodesium if we cleared away the group of Species 8472 that was taking up residence in part of the cube. We did as they demanded, and then they tried to assimilate us. Fortunately, Munro had me leave a remote explosive in a delicate part of the Borg cube. After I detonated it, we were able to escape with the isodesium. And you pretty much took out the cube as well. Good going. Stardate 53857.2. To help bolster Lieutenant Foster's spirits while he's in sickbay, I gave him an action figure of himself, a Borgified version. He yelled about it and threatened me, but I noticed he didn't give it back to me. That's because it's a collector's item. Stardate 53857.61. I knew being a member of the Hazard team would be exciting, but I had no idea how much impact it would have on my fellow crewmates. We actually saved Voyager from a harvester ship that was coming to rip our ship apart. Tuvok and several of us from the Hazard team beamed over to a nearby gunship to fire its weapon at the approaching harvester ship. We wound up having a huge battle with the internal security bots, but in the end we triumphed and Tuvok was able to fire the gun. What a feeling it was to actually help save my ship. I feel honoured and proud. I just hope I get home someday so I can tell all my friends. And you do! Stardate 53853.4. Ensign Munro has turned into quite the leader. Alex managed to talk Captain Janeway and Lieutenant Commander Tuvok into letting us attempt to attack the dampening field generators in the structure known as the Forge in the centre of the graveyard we're trapped in. If we succeed, Voyager will be able to fly past and beam us out on its way out of there. Here's to hoping we succeed. Luckily we do! Luckily we do. What do you have here?
Landros blend coffee.
I'll have that. I will also take this fancy chair. I will not in fact take the fancy chair, but I may take the stool.
The quarters of crewman Austin Chang.
Fortunately the game won't let me take the stool. Right, let's keep looking around. So that leads to the auxiliary cargo bay. We've been here. We can't go there. This is just a corridor. I'm gonna have a quick look around. Make sure we're not missing anything. Seems to be a giant circle. Hazard Ops Lounge, we've been in here. Yeah, I don't think there's much else for us to find here. So, let's go and seek out a turbo lift. There's a turbo lift right here. So, we want to take this once the door shuts.
Specify deck desired.
We're currently on Hazard Ops, so I want to go
Deck
to
5.
Sickbay.
Sickbay.
Hopefully we'll find some more officers' quarters here. Oh, we could read the logs for the Doctor. That'll be fun. So, visit Deck 15 is on the list of things still to do. Astrometrics holographic display is there. And also, launching a shuttle. Let's go! Ah, a force field preventing me from going places. Did someone say hey to me from a huge distance? Let's go. Nothing here. Nothing here. More force fields. Ah! Hello, fellow crewman. How you doing? Hey, how's it going? There's Sickbay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Yeah?
You did the pointy fingers, and that's awesome. Hello.
Crewman.
Can I help you?
Yes, you can. What are you doing?
Excuse me.
Can't you see I'm working?
That you are. Let's go say hi to the Doctor, shall we? Doctor's probably over there. Ooh, there's his personal log. And here's the disease library. Ooh, we've got to check that out. Can't go in there, though. Hello.
Hey.
What?
Are you enjoying poking the side of the panel rather than the actual control panel?
Crewman.
Sorry, I'm kind of busy here.
That you are, but you should probably move your hands a little bit further up. You're probably not going to listen to me, though. Ooh! There's a door here. Can I open this door? I don't think I can. Ooh!
Access granted.
Just let me open the... No? Aha! Oh! Why were you in there, Beastman?
Hey.
What do you want?
Beastman! Always the Joker. Always the Joker. Can we go in there? We can. Oh! We could actually close it. Okay, I don't think we can close it all the way. No, I don't think we can. Ah well, let's go read about diseases! There are quite a few here that we can read about. This is what I thought we'd be doing, but then again we are in sickbay. Aphasia. Dysfunction of certain brain centers that disrupts neurological function and arrests the victim's ability to communicate coherently. Aphasia impedes the brain's ability to process audio and visual stimulation, rendering the victim incapable of understanding others or expressing themselves. Erythrian flu. Viral disease that causes headaches, muscle aches, sinus inflammation, coughing, and fever. Sounds a lot like the flu here. Bendy syndrome. Rare illness that affects Vulcans after age 200 in their life cycle. The disease causes a loss of emotional control, leading to outbursts of emotion, irrationality, and anger. Bendy syndrome is diagnosed by sampling the patient's metathalamus tissue. The emotional side effects of this disease can be transferred to others telepathically when it reaches advanced stages. Ooh. I imagine Vulcans that get to the advanced stages of this isolate themselves. Holodiction. Abbreviated form of a term holodeck addiction, a psychological condition which occurs when individuals become so enamored with holographic simulations that real-world responsibilities become unimportant. Fantasy supersedes reality, causing a decline in productivity and reliability in the patient. I believe there was an episode of DS9 where Nog was recovering from losing his leg, and he used a holographic simulation to hide from dealing with the reality of what had happened. Livonian flu, a viral infection characterized by sneezing, muscle aches, and a runny nose. The virus normally runs its course without treatment in a period of 29 hours. It's very specific. Mendacan pox, humanoid disease characterized by skin mottling. Edson Harry Kim contracted the disease in 2358. Phage, a deadly virus that attacked members of the Vidian people in the Delta Quadrant. Early stages of the phage are characterized by excruciating joint pain. There is no known cure for this disease, although it is hoped the Klingon psychological resistance to the phage could lead to a cure. Hopefully. Rop and Gore. Klingon childhood disease similar to the Earth disease rubella, more commonly known as the measles. Rop and Gore causes a skin rash, but is primarily a respiratory infection. Symptoms include irritability, runny nose, red eyes, light sensitivity, as well as a hacking cough and fevers as high as 105 degrees Fahrenheit. The illness runs its course in as little as 1 day, but can last as long as 8 days. That would be quite nasty to experience. Temporal narcosis. Psychological trauma produced by exposure to a temporal disturbance. Temporal narcosis causes delirium in patients, as well as symptoms of nausea, vertigo, and paranoia. Tranquilizers will help to minimize the effects of the affliction, but the patient must distance themselves from the disturbance. Make sense? Vegan choriomeningitis. Viral infection that infects the human brain. Symptoms include fever, muscle, and joint pain, and delirium. This disease can cause death in humans if not diagnosed and treated within 24 hours of the onset. I imagine there is treatment. These are all probably references to things that occurred on the show. Some of these I don't remember. Xenopolycythemia. Disease of the red blood cells that can cause weakness, fatigue, and large spleen and pain in the extremities. Federation scientists cured the disease in 2268, and the vaccine is recommended for all humans during adolescence. Make sense? Makes sense. Hello, Doctor. How you doing?
Doctor?
Ah, Ms. Munro.
How you
Your
doing?
injuries seem to be rather superficial. Dermal regeneration will not be necessary, though you have some mild skin irritation. Perhaps you would like an analgesic cream?
Whatever.
and thus he injected the cream.
Doctor.
The doctor is distracted by humming. Doctor?
Excuse me.
Seriously, Ensign. I'm beginning.
You're beginning... Ah! Foster. How are you doing? On the road to recovery, I hope. Rest well. And finally, we have... Ooh! A Federation pad. Can I take it? Ooh! Hazard Team Medical Log. Beastman. Medical data on crewman Kendrick Beastman. Stardate 53843.80. Treated for bruises suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. Stardate 53845.68. Treated for a cut to arm suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. Stardate 53851.7. Treated for bruises. Then Austin Chang. Stardate 53842.1. Treated for cuts suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. 53846.31. Treated for cuts. 53846.66. Treated for cuts and bruises. 53849.8. Treated for cuts and bruises. And 53851.1. Treated for cuts. It's good that the doctor has such accurate records. And there's a lot of stuff here for Chell. 53842.1. Treated for cuts suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. 53843.6. Treated for hyperventilation. 53845.1. Treated for cuts. 53846.23. Treated for hyperventilation again. 53846.31. Treated for hyperventilation again. And then 53848.99. Treated for cuts and bruises. Followed shortly afterwards by 53851.18. Treated for hyperventilation. And 53851.0. Treated for cuts. Then we have Les Foster. Stardate 53857.0. Treated Lieutenant Foster for extensive implantation of cybernetic devices due to assimilation by Borg. Stardate 53857.50. Though very grumpy, Lieutenant Foster is recovering nicely. Excellent. Then Juliet Gerard. Stardate 53842.16. Treated for muscle soreness. 53843.6. Treated for muscle soreness. 53842.1. Treated for cuts suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. 53845.1. Treated for cuts. 53848.99. Treated for cuts and bruises. And then 53851.0. Treated for cuts. Then Telsia. Stardate 53841.8. Treated for muscle soreness. Followed by 53843.76. Treated for bruises and cuts suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. And then 53846.8. Treated for bruises and cuts. 53847.1. Treated for bruises and cuts. And 53848.8. Treated for bruises and cuts. Finally, us. Oh my! There's a lot of stuff here. 53843.1. Treated for bruises suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. Then 53843.6. Treated for bruises suffered during a Hazard Team holodeck simulation. 53843.6. Treated for bruises and cuts. 53845.88. Treated for bruises and cuts. 53846.1. Treated for bruises and cuts. 53846.31. Treated for bruises and cuts. 53849.6. Suffered minor concussion. 53850.72. Treated for a minor break of the left arm. What caused that? And 53852.72. Treated for bruises. Next time, folks, we'll go into the EMH's personal log. Oh, there's going to be some interesting things to read there. Interesting things indeed. More importantly, we will sit in the doctor's comfy chair. It looks incredibly comfy. Wonder if we could get away with taking that and putting it in our quarters. No, we'd probably end up being in the brig even longer. We're already going to be in the brig for a long time as it is. But Otto will blatantly see us checking these logs. He doesn't seem that bothered, though. He really doesn't seem bothered. Busy humming away, focused entirely on his work. Just like we are! Scanning for Neelix cheese! phasering it when we find it. Like there! Good thing I spotted that. Otherwise Voyager would be doomed. Would be so doomed. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not. And if you want to subscribe, press that bell for those notifications. And I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later. Actually, now that I look at that, I don't think it's fully gone. Oh, it's spreading! Good thing I noticed that. Munro saves the day again.